Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. Local reports out of Cutknife say a body has been recovered from Attons Lake after a suspicions a man drowned. RCMP received a call yesterday afternoon about the possible drowning. Witnesses say they observed an elderly man struggling to stay afloat while calling for help. Bystanders attempted to rescue him. He was on an inflatable lounge chair approximately 50 meters from the shoreline. The man did not resurface after falling into the water. RCMP aren't releasing any further details at this time. Well, the hot weather is continuing throughout our region, and many residents are hitting the outdoors to take advantage of the sun. But as Elise Cox explains, there are some serious dangers to spending too much time outside without the proper precautions.
With temperatures well into the 30s and our UV index as high as 10, it's important to know the damage the sun can cause your skin.
The first thing you can get from sitting outside too long is actually a sunburn, where your skin eventually first gets red and then blisters, gets painful, and if it's a really bad blister, you can end up with scarring. And of course, the other thing one has always needs to worry about is the chances of developing melanoma from prolonged and consistent exposure to sun without adequate protection.
So it's important to arm yourself with the right type of sunscreen for these extreme conditions. But sometimes the highest SPF isn't always the best choice.
Once you get above SPF 45, the percentage extra of UVA and UVB that's blocked is very minimal. So usually the only time we would recommend something higher than that is if you already have a severe burn where you have to protect it from the sun and you don't want any UV exposure at all. So that's where you would use something like the SPF 110 or something like that.
UVB cause sunburns and UVA is linked to tanning and aging. So Joel recommends an SPF 30 sunscreen that protects against both UVA and UVB. But that children under the age of 6 months are kept out of the sun entirely, and those under the age of 18 use extra precautions. So at the end of the day, whatever sunscreen you choose, it's important to apply it 20 minutes before exposure and that you're reapplying it at least every 2 hours. Elise Cox, Newcap News.
Colonial Days officially kicked off this morning, starting up with the annual parade hosted by myself and Lloyd FM's Kurt Price. Kelsey Bloxham has a recap of all the festivities.
It's an event that draws in people from far and wide, some for the first time.
No, this is my first time.
Are you from the area?
No, I'm from Vancouver.
In Lloydminster, yes. I only moved to Lloydminster in January, and this is the first time I'm here. Yeah, it's wonderful.
As well as those passing the tradition on to their kids.
Haven't been here in years, so decided to take a day off and come down and enjoy it.
We try to get here every year for the parade. I think it's an important part for the kids to come out and see what our community provides.
Wasn't working today, and Grandma wanted to go.
Celebrating the return of Colonial Days, the parade also commemorated the 20th anniversary of the CKSA.
I thought it went off without a glitch. We had a few minor problems down in the staging area, but we'll deal with that next year. We're not changing anything for next year, so hopefully everybody will be that much more knowledgeable.
As Lloydminster continues to grow in size, the city has changed, and it sure showed at the parade.
I think it's great. It's like all different elements of multicultural. There's a Filipino group and all the Asian stuff. It's much better than the years before.
We are becoming so diverse in our community. It's nice to see that the people maybe who don't know that we have that are able to join those particular groups.
But it wouldn't be the same without the biggest fan favorite.
Candy. Lots of some Skittles.
What's that?
Milkshake.
I love candy!
This year's grand prize went to the Service Credit Union for their float. Kelsey Bloxham, Newcap News.
And the Colonial Days Fair is now in full swing, and rides are fan favorites. But what goes into setting them up? Bart Padiasic takes a look at what precautions there are to keep the fair safe and go off without a hitch.
These are common sights and sounds during the summer in Lloydminster as Colonial Days has started. But how important is safety when it comes to the amusement park?
Our business is fun. We are here to have fun with the people, provide fun. So we don't want them having a bad time and getting hurt. And we want to see smiles on their faces at the end of the day.
West Coast Amusements moves its rides almost on a weekly basis, hitting about 30 different carnivals a year. With that kind of schedule, the employees working the rides know how to spot any danger before it happens.
We shut the ride down, find out what's wrong, and we will make sure it's done before it's open again. If any problems, it'll be fixed. We won't just brush it off and say, oh, we can fix it next week. It will be fixed before the ride opens again.
The last major ride malfunction in Alberta happened 2 years ago at the Calgary Stampede. According to witnesses, one of the pods came off the Scorpion when it was approximately 10 meters off the ground. 10 people were injured. That's something that West Coast Amusements works so it doesn't happen.
I'm proud to say we've never had anything really major go wrong with our public, and I like to think that our guys do a really good job, and the public should know that we do take pride in what we do.
Bart Podjasic, Newcap News.